Hi and welcome back to LavenderCoco Kitchen. Here is Sangeetha.
Hello.
And I asked Sangeetha to help me with this recipe today because it is a very traditional and popular dessert in both Britain and India. So you'll find versions of this all over the world, really. What is it?
What is it?
Rice pudding.
Okay.
Which in India is called either Kheer or Payasam.
Yeah.
And obviously you've probably heard it called Payasam because that's southern India, and her dad, my husband, is from South India. Have you eaten it here though, in the British way?
I don't think so, but I remember in primary school, there were people in my class and they used to get rice pudding from the shops.
Ah, yes.
Doesn't seem that traditional, it's probably really processed.
Yeah, well, it's often used as a dessert to end a celebration in India. It's often got like nuts and sometimes raisins and rose water and other things in. But the British one's usually just made with rice and usually milk or cream. But obviously this is dairy free and we aren't going to use rice because although this can be a fairly healthy dessert, if you're watching your carbohydrate intake, like for me I have diabetes, and rice of course makes it a high carbohydrate dessert. So if you want to make it low in carbs, you use cauliflower instead. The cauliflower can be made into rice or a very rice-like consistency.
Cauliflower is not that strong a flavour.
Yeah,
so.
And once it's cooked, it tends to lose a bit of that flavour, and you can easily mask it with other things. To make cauliflower rice, you just have to chop the cauliflower and put it in a food processor and then just blend it until it looks like rice. So, as you can see, the cauliflower now looks kind of like rice. And it does have quite a strong smell at this stage, but don't worry about that because once it's cooked, that will go. So even if you're not that keen on cauliflower, you should give it a go because the other flavours will take out a lot of that cauliflower taste. So now we have to steam it. We're just going to put it into a steamer. So we're going to steam it about 15 to 20 minutes until it's tender and you don't get that raw taste anymore. And cauliflower is actually a good source of calcium as well. And I think the cauliflower leaves are even higher in calcium. But you can actually eat the leaves and they're very good for you. It'll steam the cauliflower.
How long?
15 to 20 minutes. While that's steaming, we're going to make the base for the pudding, which of course is usually milk and cream, but we're going to use coconut cream, 1.5 cups. It doesn't matter if it's a bit lumpy because it's going to melt on the heat. Seems to work out to 1 whole can. So we need about 1.5 tablespoons, which will be probably most of this. Add the spices, which obviously in India they would definitely put the spices in. And the main one is cardamom pods. So take about 3. And we need to just give them a little light bashing so that they'll release a bit more of their flavour. Bruise them. See, like that? So they're just starting to open a little bit. And you can smell it now. Yeah, so you'll get that flavour without getting too many little black seeds because they're really strong. Alright, now we have cloves. So just put about 3 of those in. Cinnamon. So we got cinnamon sticks. So you just want like 1 cinnamon stick. Yeah, you can just break it up into a few pieces. Not too small, so you want to be able to get them out at the end. Yeah, that'll do. And lastly,
nutmeg, your favourite.
Well, this is the one they use in Britain. This is their favourite for rice pudding. Grated whole nutmeg is better than powdered nutmeg. It's got more flavour. So obviously we've used whole spices. If you don't have those, you could use powdered spice, but the whole ones give a better taste, and also they keep the pudding looking white, because if you use the ground spice, it will make the colour of that more brownish. Nutmeg tends to go well with most cream-based products. Next, some vanilla. Now, I suppose you could use a vanilla bean, like, you know, if you want.
Yeah,
it'd give a
be
better
good.
flavour, but obviously they can be expensive, so we'll use this. And use the extract though, not the essence.
So a teaspoon?
Two. You put 2. Oh, one more thing to make
Salt.
it sweet.
Oh.
No, since it's supposed to be a dessert, we'll put a bit of sweetener in it. A couple of tablespoons of maple syrup. You don't need a lot of sweetener. It actually depends what you're going to add to the pudding when you're going to eat it. Because if you're going to add other things to it later when you serve it, you don't actually want it to be too sweet. Oh, I forgot one last thing. We just need to put in a teaspoon of corn flour. It just helps to thicken it, because obviously cauliflower is not like rice and it won't really absorb the liquid much. About a teaspoon of corn flour. We're going to whisk it on the stove now. So you've got to let that start boiling a bit. And once it's boiling a bit, you turn the heat down, just let it simmer, so the spices can, you know, the flavour of them can absorb. Okay, so it's boiling, so we just turn it down now to low heat, like low to medium. So you just want it to keep like simmering for a little while your cauliflower rice is cooking. Yeah, it's been cooking about 15 minutes, so it looks like it's probably just about done. Have a little taste and see if you think it's cooked enough.
Yeah, I think so.
You think it's done enough now?
It's not meant to be super soft, is it?
No, but you don't want it to have that raw taste.
It doesn't have the raw taste.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't taste raw, it's okay. Yeah, well, we'll turn that off. So now we just have to add it into this mixture. Yeah, make sure you put in 2 cups of cauliflower rice. So that's about 1, because I put a bit in there. Yeah, we're just going to let that cook for another 10 minutes just to absorb the flavours. Alright, so once your cauliflower rice pudding is cooked, just cool it a little, and this can be served either warm or cold. So you can actually put it in the fridge and have it cold later, or you can eat it, you know, as soon as it cools down a little. So here we have a cold one and we have a warm one, and this you can see is more like the Indian way of serving.
Yeah.
Where it's decorated with some nuts and rose petals. And the other one is more traditional British, where you'd grate a layer of nutmeg on the top. And something like your grandma used to do was, when she used to make this for me or our family when I was a kid, I used to actually really hate it. But she did one thing which made me like it. She'd put a big scoop of jam on the top, and that was the only thing I actually liked about the rice pudding back then. I've just got my own homemade strawberry jam here, which is very healthy, or you can get low sugar strawberry jam from the shop, and she would just put a scoop of jam on the top. Alright, are you ready to taste your lovely cauliflower rice pudding?
Yeah.
Have a few knots with that.
Takes me back to India.
Oh, does it? Oh, wow.
The flavors.
Yeah, it must be all those spices. Yeah. So have a try of the more traditional English style one.
Takes me back to London.
Doesn't it?
I'm kidding.
Well, yes, she was born in London.
It does remind me of porridge.
Yeah, actually I was going to say, although this is a good dessert, you can also have it for breakfast. And obviously with the cauliflower, it's very healthy because we haven't even put a lot of sugar in it. And obviously, depending on the type of jam, you can keep it healthy if you use low sugar jam too. It's actually a really good breakfast in place of porridge, and obviously lower in carbohydrate too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably eat it for breakfast. But I also like it cold.
Yeah, I think I like it because it's cold, the flavour comes out more. Because it's, you know.
I think it does actually when you chill it. And could you taste the cauliflower? Would you know?
Not until you just said it right then. I totally forgot.
So you did forget there was cauliflower in it. Yeah. Well, that's a plus, because even if you don't really like cauliflower that much, but you want a low carb alternative to rice, you could try it. Yeah. So give it a go.